I said, let's go.
Oh, it's a little bit more pressure on this wrist, Gunther. I can send you out of here in an ambulance. But I think I'm going to save it for the next time, just in case there is a next time. Which I doubt. Ah! Taking a license for your animal, Whitney. At least keep him on a leash.
I don't think you're needed any longer, Chrissy.
Yes, Mr. Whitney.
Well, Gunther, just what the hell was that all about?
Look, I'm sure I don't know, Mr. Whitney. Look, the only thing I know is that Doc Kavanaugh has had it in for me ever since that time I was following Miss DeVal. I don't know. I don't know why he should resent me so much. I'm just trying to do my job. Maybe, look, you know, he might be just a little sweet on her, you know?
You're lying, Gunther. Kavanaugh came in here like an outraged father avenging his daughter. Now, I want to know what caused that anger. Just what did you do to Jody Travis?
Not a damn thing. Now, it's honest. Look, all I was trying to do was just give her a little lift home. I don't know. Maybe she misunderstood my intentions. But, hell, that's not my fault. Look, all I was trying to...
You listen to me, Gunther. You stay away from that little girl. Kavanaugh knows nothing about the weaknesses that you've got like I do. Like, for example, how would you like to be out of a job? You just might not be able to get another one. Yeah, you might end up having to live with that crazy girlfriend of yours, Roxanne. They ever let her out?
The castle was deserted for a minute. Where's Miles? On an emergency call?
No, well, at least not a medical emergency.
Jody, what is it? Something's wrong. What is it?
Well, we had a little trouble tonight.
What kind of trouble?
Trouble with, the trouble is I wish I didn't make such a big deal out of it to Miles. That's the trouble.
Honey, I don't understand what you're talking about. Now, please tell me what's wrong.
I'm sorry. All right, tonight when I was leaving the dance studio, Skylar Whitney's chauffeur was waiting for me.
You mean Gunther?
Yeah. Anyway, he told me that he had strict orders from Sky to pick me up and take me home. I found out that it was Gunther's idea. Anyway, he got me in the car and he started making nasty remarks.
Oh, that rotten creep. Go on, Jody.
Well, anyway, he locked the door so I couldn't get out, and I didn't know what to do. So I saw this phone, and it had a button that makes a direct connection to the Whitney mansion. Anyway, I picked up the phone, and I pushed the button, and Gunther got really angry, and he grabbed the phone from my hand, and he hung it up. And then he started to go for me, and the phone started to beep. And he looked at the phone, and he looked at me, and then he backed out of the car, and I guess it was Sky on the phone. Anyway, it scared him enough to give me a chance to get away.
Oh, honey, what a horrible thing to have happened to you. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm all right. It's just that I got scared. So I came home, and I told Miles the story, and he sent me upstairs to bed to rest. And then I heard the front door slam, and I know he went to the Whitney mansion. And, Nicole, that's what really scares me, is he's at that mansion.
Well, just don't worry about Miles. I'm sure he'll be able to handle it. He'll do the right thing to keep this from ever happening ever again. Let's just relax, okay? You're not hurt. That's the main thing. Come here, sit down. You're safe, and you're at home, and you're okay. That should make you feel a little bit better, and after a good night's sleep, you'll be your same old young self again.
No, I've tried to sleep. I couldn't. I heard Adam tossing and turning, so I went in to see him.
Well, now that should make anybody feel better. And what did Adam and all his 3-year-old wisdom have to say?
Go to sleep, Jody. So I tried, but it didn't work.
Well, I don't blame you.
You know, it's funny. I've been walking around and thinking about how life changes all of a sudden, you know?
Why? Is there something else on your mind besides the Gunther incident?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad you're home because you're the person I want to tell the most.
Oh, great. I'm right here. Tell me.
Well, it's something that scares me a little bit. And yet it's the most wonderful thing in the world that's ever happened to me. Even Gunther couldn't spoil it. I used to wonder if I would ever know when it happened to me. And now I don't wonder anymore. I do know. Nicole, I'm really in love.
With Kelly?
No. No, I've never felt this way about Kelly or anybody else for that matter. It's Gavin Wiley. I'm in love with Gavin Wiley. And he loves me too.
Oh, hi, Val. I was just fixing myself something to eat. Would you like something?
No, thanks. I couldn't sleep. I thought maybe some milk would help. I didn't want to wake anybody, though.
Oh, you haven't. A glass of milk sounds like a real good idea. There you go. Oh, here, have a seat. I'll fix it right away for you. There you go. Really wish I could do something for you right now, more than just fix you a glass of milk.
Kelly, I don't know what I would have done if it hadn't been for you in the cars. If I had been alone when I heard the news about my father.
Yeah, but you're not alone. You're with people who care about you a lot.
Thank you.
You couldn't sleep, huh?
Oh, God, I just lie there and these memories of my father just keep flooding my mind. I keep thinking about the few times, really, that I was even with him in the last few years.
In Europe, you mean?
Yeah. 3 years ago, I guess, was the longest time I've spent with him. I spent my summer vacation at his clinic in Lucerne. I guess I was there about 2 months. That was the last time I ever lived with him. And even then, I didn't really see him very much.
Why not?
Oh, his wife, Beth. She kept me at arm's length as much as possible. She wasn't overly fond of me.
Yeah, no, that was her loss.
Oh, but Daddy was so busy, too. I ended up spending a lot more time with one of his patients.
Oh, yeah? Who was that?
There was a lieutenant named Jim Diedrichson. He'd been wounded in the Vietnam War, and he was at the clinic having a series of plastic surgery operations to reconstruct his face. And the strange thing, I never saw his face. I don't know what he looks like.
You never saw it? Not even after?
I had to go back to school before he was released.
Oh, I see. That, sounds pretty romantic, was it?
I guess it was as close to a real romance as I've ever come.
You still think of him?
No, not really. Sometimes. I wonder what he looks like. Where he is.
The plane apparently had slid into a mountain crevasse upon impact, and only a few remnants of the aircraft have been found. Identification was made through serial numbers found on a piece of the tail section. There were no known survivors.
Schuyler Whitney, International Society figure, has been released from the hospital after spending several weeks in a coma. Mr. Whitney was found in a mountain lodge near the village of Sunderman after the plane crash that took the life of his friend and co-pilot, Jefferson Brown.
She knows who I am, and she knows what I've done. I once swore that no one would ever know my name. What the hell am I going to do? That guy. What the hell was his name? I've got his place. Romeo. Wherefore art thou, Romeo?
I had a hunch you'd be here. Can I join you?
Well, if you absolutely positively can't help yourself.
Oh, thanks. You always make me feel so welcome. Hey, Bobby, how are you?
Good, how are you? Can I get you something?
Yeah, please. An English muffin and coffee.
Okay, coming right up.
An English muffin? What is this? Are you getting to be continental now or something?
No, man, I'm a good old American boy. I like English muffins, that's all.
What are you so darn cheerful about?
Oh, nothing special. I just feel good.
Oh,
Great, as a matter of fact.
That's quite a switch. He's usually running around dragging his chin on the floor.
What's the matter with him? Why is he so grumpy?
Oh, Star got an offer to do a singing engagement in San Francisco for 3 or 4 weeks, and this fool told her she could go. Now he's angry because she's leaving.
Well, it's your own fault, right?
I had no choice. I mean, what was I supposed to do? Go stomping around and yelling about it?
Like you always do.
Thanks. Be the husband determined to keep her at home? I mean, we've been having enough trouble the past couple of months.
Well, you better learn to work it out with her, man. I mean, you two are married.
Tell me about it, and don't be fresh with your betters. Just take some well-heeled advice. Women, God bless them, are wonderful, but marriage, gentlemen, is for the birds.
Hey, we've got trouble, Calvin. Lawyer in the place. You sure look happy all of a sudden.
Excuse me, I'm going over to greet a rather charming adversary.
Sure, it'll be a nice break for us.
Well, if it isn't, Miss Bannister, as I live and breathe. Fancy meeting you here.
Gee, if I had known this was a hangout for the police, I would have gone someplace else.
You jest. You don't mind if I have a seat, do you? Listen, I realize you're a bit concerned about your client, Jimmy Krause, but you must understand that all I did at the hearing was tell Judge Weeks exactly what happened.
Yes, well, we don't deny that he shot you, Mr. Stoner. We know that. But you made it sound like it was attempted murder. Your testimony made it almost impossible for Mr. Krause to get any kind of lenient sentence.
Well, that's exactly as it should be. Look, what is this deep concern you have for Jimmy Krause? He is a genuine card-carrying crook, and you know it.
See, that's the difference between you and me, Mr. Stoner. I'm talking about justice. And all you can talk about is getting the bad guys. Well, I'm glad you can be so certain just who the bad guys are, because I'm not always so sure. And I see to it that my clients get the benefit of that and every other reasonable doubt. And if you didn't have such a mean streak in you, you'd be able to understand that.
Mean streak? Look, I am still carrying the effects of Mr. Krause's accidental shooting last week. I mean, when a guy pulls a gun and pulls the trigger, it becomes crystal clear that neither he or his intentions are good.
I'm sorry about your wound, Mr. Stoner. I really am. But it would give me a great deal of pleasure if you would please leave my table and go back to your own.
Miss Bannister, it would give me a great deal of pleasure to give you a great deal of pleasure. Now, what's this all about? He comes in, orders English muffins. He's got them already, and we're still waiting for hamburgers.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're coming right up. I promise.
You're a pretty popular man around here. Why don't you give that lady a chance?
No thanks. I got other plans regarding a lady.
Oh, my goodness, we've been so worried. What happened over there at the Whitney house?
No reason to worry about me, honey. I didn't punch Gunther in the nose. Didn't punch me either.
Well, what did happen?
I just had a little bit of a conversation with him, that's all. I think I made it clear enough that he was not to go near Jody ever again.
Well, what about Skylar Whitney? Was he there?
Yes, he was. I'm glad to say.
Oh, I just knew there was something awful about that man. I don't want either one of you around Gunther anymore. Do you hear me?
I'm not going to go near him. Look, how about we just forget about this, okay? I'm sorry it caused so much trouble, and I'm sorry I told Miles at all. I didn't know he was going to go out and do that.
All right, well, let's all just try and forget.
No, not quite. I think the police should have this information about Gunther.
Oh, honey, please,
No,
you don't...
Wait a minute, you two. Just let me handle this, will you? I'm going to file a complaint in the morning.
Well, what do you want?
I just wondered if Mr. Whitney needed anything more before I retired.
Well, he just left. Do you think I'd be drinking his best brandy if he was still here?
Where's the missus?
I don't know, and I don't care.
How's your wrist? Do you need me to get anything for it?
It's just fine. Hey, look, honey, don't get a wrong impression from what you saw here tonight. I could take Doc Cavanaugh out in a minute, except I'm afraid I might lose my job. Besides, I had too much to drink.
Oh, I'm sure you could beat Dr. Cavanaugh. Well, night.
Toast to you, sir. In your Napoleon brandy. To Napoleon Whitney, in your brandy. That's a good one.
You guys want another one down there? What do we do with it?
I'm looking for Mr. Slade.
Yeah, right over there. He's expecting you. Nick, another drink?
Yes, Tony. You're the guy who called?
Yeah.
I'm Romeo.
Romeo, huh? Well, your parents could have had that bizarre a sense of humor. That couldn't be your real name.
Nope, it's a nickname, but I still had to earn it.
The person who recommended you said that you had earned your nickname by being a real lady killer. Is that right?
Hmm? Who was it that recommended me?
This guy I met. Someone had used your services some years before. He was a rather large individual with large appetites. He had a pleasingly plump, pleasingly wealthy wife who he no longer was interested in. I don't know the details, but perhaps you remember the Riviera, Hotel Duchamp. Boating accident, I believe.
Yeah, I read about it someplace. What's your point?
I'm in need of those same special services.
You know the price?
I've heard.
Well, it's higher than it used to be. Inflation really gets to you. Everybody's a faker by it these days.
I'll pay it. You do the job exactly according to my specifications.
Which are?
You'll wait until I'm out of town. You'll make it appear like an attempted burglary.
I think we call that breaking and entering. Any servants?
They'll be gone. My wife apparently will discover you and go to raise an alarm, but she won't make it.
You're really crazy about her, aren't you?
No, I want one thing absolutely clear. I want the job done quickly. She must not feel any pain. She must not have any fear. I will not have her suffer. I want that understood. And I want it understood clearly.
Okay. There's no need for such vehemence. I'm a professional.
I just want to